Hi. Happy Saturday, everybody. Welcome to another Lazy Gang stream. We're so excited to be here with you and start the weekend off with some writerly yap. How are you, Malin?
I'm good. I took yesterday off work for like
Ooh,
mental health, chilling, doing nothing.
good.
And I wrote quite a lot. I wrote like 2,500 words yesterday.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so I now have potential hope of finishing my Act 2A by the end of this month, which I wanted to do. But then I was like, I don't think I'm going to do it. But now I'm like, I have a scene and a half, like a chapter and a half to
Oh,
finish.
you got it.
So I could do it. So that's kind of my mindset is like, oh yeah, you could just get into it. You can write.
Amazing.
And I'm feeling extra productive at the moment. I think it's because this fucking idiot over there ate that
Mm-hmm.
rock
Yeah.
and had to have emergency surgery. And now he's recovering, which means we cancelled quite a few plans, which means I was planless, which means I focused on doing this.
I see. Well, you made lemonade out of lemons, I guess it sounds like.
Yeah, and also I'm almost finished with reading your book, so I'm feeling productive on all accounts. All accounts.
Yee! That's awesome. That's awesome. How are you feeling about Project Alien? I mean, obviously you've been writing a lot, so I'm hoping you're loving it and it's
I'm loving it, but I'm
flowing.
constantly filled with doubts about my outline and the pacing and things like that. And like for instance,
Mm.
yesterday I had a big moment of like, what the fuck? I haven't done anything for my B story, and I've written so many fun and game scenes. And where's my B story? And then I had to re-Google like what examples of B stories in like movies and stuff to realize, wait, the B story isn't always the love interest. Like sometimes it's
Mm-hmm.
other things. And then I realized, oh, my B story has become something else. It's actually not the love interest anymore. It's my main
Mm.
character's relationship with her crew. That's become the B story.
Oh,
It's like evident to me now, and I'm like, I have been writing it. I just forgot what it could be.
yeah. Do you feel
So
like
I think
the
it's like
romance story got elevated a little
I
bit?
feel yeah, the romance story has taken a little bit of a backseat. It's
Oh.
still there, but it's very much more about like the plot is so much more prominent, and I knew it would be.
Mm.
So the romance is like a little bit more background.
C
Like maybe
plot.
it's the C story.
Gotcha. That's great. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense as you said. It's a more of a space horror than
Yeah.
a romance. So that makes
Yeah, I'm
sense.
having a lot of issues with. I mean, I keep having to tell myself like, just fix it in post, just fix it in post for a lot of things
Hmm.
because I'm constantly like, well, like the pacing is too slow. No one's been eaten by a zombie yet, and we're arriving at the midpoint. But on the other hand, I'm following more of a similar pattern to Alien, the movie. And in Alien, the movie, the chest burster also comes at the midpoint. That's when the true horror starts.
Right.
So I think my book is following a similar sort of beat sheet where there's a slow build up until the midpoint, and the
Hmm.
midpoint is when shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm constantly concerned because I'm like, where's my monsters? What's going on? Too slow. So yeah.
I love that. And as
How
for
about you?
me, I am good. I am trying very hard to finish my revision checklist items by the end of June, and I don't know, we
Yes.
might get there. Um, I did a lot of work this week on a couple of like lingering things.
How are you
Um,
feeling about your reverse outline and all that?
um, I'm feeling actually a bit mixed on it. It was really helpful in the beginning when I knew what I wanted to change and add, and I have a pretty
Mm.
good idea of how that needs to get expanded upon and the different subplots that I'm going to weave in because unlike you, my book has no B or C plots. It's just A plot the whole way. I was excited to reverse outline the first act because I knew that was going to change. Um, However, the further I've gotten into it, it's like, getting a little bit less clear what I'm going to change. And especially in the third act, which is pretty much just the final battle,
Mm.
which because that is so long and it's like Battle of Hogwarts where it has like different phases and whatnot. Um, I don't see myself changing a lot about that, or at least I haven't made that realization yet of what needs to change. So it's feeling like less useful as I go. Um,
I mean, it's useful to have to get back to anyway. So I guess there's always
yeah.
that because there's going to be a very, very soon point where I'm done with reading it. And then perhaps we can also discuss your third act and what you're thinking of
Yes.
after that. So it'll be useful
Yeah.
to have in front of you your reverse outline.
Yeah. I think I'm going to be glad to have it when we chat because I know I'm going to get so many good ideas when we do. So I'm glad I did it. And it really, like, the most helpful part about it was I made columns for Hera's internal arc and how her internal arc should be changing throughout the book and how her
Mm.
beliefs change. So I have like a column of like what are Hera's beliefs at this point. And I think that's going to be really helpful when I go back and write the scenes again to actually know, like, okay, at this point, Hera thinks X is
Yeah,
going on, and
yeah,
she really wants this. Like, that is her goal, and so I've firmed that up a little bit more in the reverse outline. So I think it really benefited her character arc more than
yeah.
anything else. Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking at my Notion list now of stuff I have left to do. I need to do a little bit of a write up on her magic and like how it works because the rules are everywhere in the
Yeah,
first
all
draft.
over the place. Well, I think you almost need to do a bit of world building, establishing some things that you can refer back to and be like, what did I decide on this again? Because
Mm-hmm.
I tend to forget as I'm writing, because we write things
Yeah.
over a much longer span than we would read them. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like something you may have decided in Act One, you've completely forgotten by Act Three.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So I need to write down like how it actually works and
Yeah.
how it was discovered and whatnot. I have to do my Act 3 in the reverse outline. And I need to do my sewing project.
Oh, yeah.
So I might do that this afternoon
Interesting.
if I don't get too scared
Do you
and
have
nip
an
out.
idea of what you want to sew?
I have a book that has some really, really easy beginner patterns in it. So I may do something like a tote bag or a circle skirt
Nice. Tote
or a
bag.
scrunchie.
Love it.
Yeah, something really, really easy. So that's what's up with me. But let's say hello to some friends. Hello, Krenko. All of the credit for the graphics goes to Malin.
I'm a graphic designer.
Marta is here, just going to grab some lunch before the stream, but we'll be joining shortly. And we are going to try and be really on task today and end 2 hours from now because
Yes.
Marta has a stream that we do not want to overlap. So we will try and
We're gonna try not to yap too much.
we're gonna try not to yap too much. Rainy is here, and Scrawling Archer, and Nina, and Steeg, and Kat is here. Hello. Steeg will be working on my reverse outline as well. Excellent. Out of scene 40 out of 55, so we're getting there.
Very
That's
close.
very well done. Hello, Pause Films. Welcome. Some love for the pup.
I'm checking where he is. He's under the desk now.
Rainy's still working on the last 2 chapters of my book. Then I will go to the beginning. I started in the middle to the end, and next I'm going beginning to middle. This is cool.
Ooh, I could never. My linear only brain could never.
I feel like this would be really fun when you're on. For me, when I'm on like draft like 4 or 5, when I'm getting really tired of it and sick of it, and I need to like switch things up a little bit.
Yeah.
Then I get to outline draft 2, which is my task for my Edinburgh retreat. Very fun.
Excited.
I'm excited for you guys to have your retreat. And I'm trying not to have like incredible FOMO.
I'm not really going on the retreat myself. I'm just joining for the weekend, essentially.
Even still. And in my favorite city, it's so unfair. I had to go check something real quick, but hi. I'm the opposite of you. I think I have too much B story. Can't believe we're already so close to the end of June. I know.
Yeah.
Time moves so fast. The story grid has been really helpful for my reverse outline. Knowing what the turning point of a scene is or what the change is has been really helpful in determining the value of a scene in the grand scheme of things. Ooh, I want to know more about this. Because I think another thing that I did in my reverse outline was causal links, and I don't know if that ended up being as useful to me.
So
Um,
I don't remember all the points, but the story grid method is very much like just you write what happens in each scene, and then
mhm,
there's several columns that come next to it, like things like which character POV are we in, like what's the point of the scene, I think.
mhm,
So if then you realize when your scene is literally just getting people to move from one area to another, which is unnecessary, it doesn't make the plot move forward,
mhm.
things like that. And I think there's a whole thing about negative versus positive feelings or something. I'm obviously I don't remember enough, but essentially your character will start with something positive and end with something
Mhm.
negative or doubly positive. There's always a change
Yeah,
in within a scene, I
yeah,
guess.
that makes sense and sounds really valuable.
It's
Um,
very methodical, and I feel like that might not be for everyone, but if you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, then it's very useful for
mhm.
reverse outline, I would say.
I always feel like I don't know what I'm doing. Yes, a few of my scenes are too loose and don't bring enough to the book. Yeah, I feel that. I can't read. I'm on Act 3 of my screenplay, slugging along. We're almost to the end. Hello, Crystal. Azzy is determined to drink my coffee while I set up for edits.
One caffeinated cat.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of cats, actually, Miss Cat, where was your comment about June? Yes. So for our topic for today, actually, this came from Kat. Kat tagged me in a video that she made for the mid-year freakout tag, but writer edition. I know we've seen this tag a lot for BookTube, and I just happened to search up if there was a writer edition because I was thinking maybe we could do that or I would make a video or something. So I just searched like mid-year freakout tag writer, and Kat's video popped up, and my face was on her thumbnail, and she had tagged me, and I was like, oh my god. So I'm so happy I stumbled on that video, and I'm so thankful to Kat for tagging me. So we're gonna do the mid-year freakout tag together today. Um,
And I've come fully unprepared to this
as have
because
I.
I scrolled through the questions you posted. I was like, yeah, we'll just do that live.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I did not wake up early enough to prepare any thoughts on this, so this is all coming like straight off the dome. But the tag is 10 questions, so I thought we could split it up and do like rapid fire rounds, like 5 questions, sprint, 5 questions, sprint, or maybe like sprint 5 questions, sprint 5 questions.
Yeah, maybe we should do a sprint first if you want, just because
Mm-hmm.
we've been in for 13, 14 minutes. I don't know. I'm just thinking of, we said we wouldn't yap too much, but we do need to do an actual sprint
We
for
do.
sure.
We do. I totally agree. So I'll pull up a timer. Um, yes, thank you. Marta is back. Has a lot of rubrics for putting in information, not all of it useful, like POV. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But the big stuff, like the turning point, at what point does the scene turn, and the value, good to better, bad to worse, good to bad, etc., really helped me get an overview of what scenes to yoink, what to keep, and what to change.
I think I'm really gonna try and do this method as well when I start revising rules of survival because it feels like that's my main issue at the moment. Is because I outline, I feel like I'm forced to trust myself that each scene I've decided I would write is going to be useful within the outline. But as I'm
Mm,
writing them, sometimes I'm like the pacing is all wrong. This scene is like I don't know if it's necessary anymore.
yeah.
And so I think I'll be trying that method when it comes to revision time.
Yeah, as will I. I feel kind of silly because I actually wrote in my Notion list that I wanted to like have a column for something similar, which is like, is this a proactive scene or a reactive
You're not
scene?
meant to do it first. You're meant to first do your reverse outline without doing any work on it. You're meant to just reread, and I think that's the method. Is the first step is write your reverse outline. The second step is add the columns
Okay.
afterwards, and then decide the work that you're going to need to do on them. So we're
Mm.
still good within the method if you want to do it that way.
Okay, good. So it's not that I forgot. It's that I was
It was
doing
all on purpose, guys.
it's all in the right order. I still need to catch up on the craft book ranking stream so I can pick a craft book to actually read all the way through this time.
Oh yes, watching Murder was so fun. It was so fun.
It was a very good stream. I really enjoyed it. Well, with that being said, let me get our sprint going. We're going to do a lemon timer.
Yay, my new timer.
A new bombshell has entered the villa, and she's so beautiful.
She is a bombshell.
How long do you want to do? 30?
I think 30 is good. I've been doing 30 increments today and yesterday already, so that works for me.
Beautiful. All right. Well, good luck, everybody.
All right. How did we do?
Sorry, was about to speak on mute. Classic mistake. What the
No
hell?
worries. No worries.
I've moved downstairs because Edgar wanted to go outside and now he's
Hmm.
laying down next to me. So, did
I
you hear
just,
the sound?
yeah.
He does it all the time. And my favorite meme ever was like this guy who was like, when your dog sighs and you're like, what ails you, my little unemployed friend? It's just like, yeah.
I know they're so like deeply like oh the
I
size of a dog.
I've heard actually that it's normally size of content. Like it just means that they're like, oh, this is good here. I'm happy here.
Oh,
I hope
that's
that's
sweet.
so I wrote 400-ish words. I'm now at 812 for the day because I wrote a little
Oh
bit
my
before.
gosh.
I had a whole morning, to be fair. And
Well done.
so that's what I did, and I'm still within the same scene. I haven't moved on yet, but that makes me happy because it's an Axel POV scene, and there's been a few that are quite significantly shorter than Themis's POV, and I wanted
Mm.
him to have a chunkier one at some point.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I
Very
did, and
good.
then I made a shopping list because I need to remember to buy honey. So that's it.
Ah, very good.
How about you?
I did well. I decided to do that little write-up about how Hera's magic works. So I finished that.
Exciting.
So I actually established like because she has different abilities when she touches someone, and so I needed to define like how many seconds does she have before this takes effect or whatever. Because that's
Yeah,
really
or like,
wibbly wobbly.
does it depend on the person's strength of will or whatever, or is it
Yeah.
all in her?
Yeah, unfortunately, no one can do anything about her magic. No one has any resistance except for one person. But yeah, I had to do that write up, which I finished. So I'm happy with that. I actually established some guidelines around that. And yeah, so I can check that off my checklist. Yay.
Nice, good job.
Yeah. So everyone else let us know how you did. Marta was excited for the lemon timer, and Stieg slandered the lemon timer.
Rude. Look, I've moved on. My drink of choice is like Marta, also not raspberry themed anymore. I'm currently constantly making myself gin fizzes, so it's very
Mm,
lemony.
very good. Very summery. Oh, and Luke brought me coffee there at the last 2 minutes, and I was like, give me my coffee.
Nice. And I made myself coffee, but I mean hot coffee.
Beautiful. Um, Rainy, I'm so sorry. Your office chair just
Oh
broke.
god.
I'm sorry.
Like while you were sat on there, because that would freak me out. I would just be so like shaky after that.
Yeah, sounds dangerous. I
Yeah.
hope you're okay. I
Sounds
hope you didn't get hurt.
yeah.
Um, and 586 words is very good, despite all of that.
Especially with that drama happening.
hmm Lizzie joined us. Hello. Some love for Edgar. 378 words, but more revising than writing. Good job. 512 for Nina. Love for Edgar. 553 for Crystal. Chapter 21 out of 30. Something I keep getting the chapter math wrong. Sounds like you're getting closer. Marta spent that sprint doing some video editing. Going to be switching to writing during my own stream later. Excellent. I'm very excited to see this video. Kat finished rereading my incomplete first draft yesterday, so now I'm back to brainstorming and plotting the second half of the book. Fun but scary.
Exciting.
Exciting. I hope you enjoyed the reread. I hope you got to just enjoy it and fall into that, like, as a reader, and you just start turning the pages and you're like, oh my gosh, it's a real story. For Archer, 350 words, trying to finish part 2 this weekend. Made good progress on a rough outline, but I'm a bit overwhelmed by everything I still need to fit in. I feel that. That's how I feel at this current moment. Marta was looking through my time tracking for the last editing entry so I could press play from there instead of refilling it in. And it looks like I haven't done any video editing in 3 weeks. No wonder I'm behind. Well, that's better than me. I haven't posted a video since like June 2nd, I think.
I feel
So,
like, I mean, one video per month is already a lot, It's
yeah.
hard.
Yeah. I was going to try and post this vlog that I'm working on before the end of June, but that's not going to happen. I think I'd rather just focus on actually finishing the checklist and then posting the video in July. So,
Yeah. I've been wanting to do more Let's Chat videos, but recently life has happened. And I feel
mhm.
like all I've been able to do is just vlog and B-roll, and that's it. So that's what I've done instead.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. 442 words for Krenko. Good job. Despite the browser glitching. Been having a ton of iced mango tea with lemon slices recently.
Yum.
Suitably yellow. Fortunately, I've run out, but we're going to be having water with lemon slices instead. Oh, mango iced tea sounds really good.
Sounds delicious.
I just noticed Malin's lovely tomato shirt. Feels very summery and on brand with the lemon-themed timer.
I literally bought it yesterday from Oliver
Ah,
Burns.
I was gonna say when we first logged on, it's such a cute shirt. I love it.
Thank you.
The middle bit of the chair slipped down the foot, which made it so that it started scraping on the floor so I could move. It wasn't sudden, it has happened gradually, and now I discovered it. Oh no. Oh no. I was doing some light editing along the way, so not really, but still had a few moments when I was gushing about some cute characters or enjoying a strong scene. Well done. I did the math. It's 21 out of 36 plus the epilogue. I'm sure of it this time. So many sprints today, including mine. So hopefully I can get a nice chunk done. Yes, I'm very glad we've got a little bit of a mini marathon today for anyone else who wants to do a lot of work. You probably don't have 4 videos in process at the moment either. I have a constant problem of wanting to film everything, but not having time to edit everything.
Yeah.
And I agree, this is crazy. I could not do 4 videos. Alrighty. I am going to get us into our mid-year freakout tag. It is the end of June. 2025 is halfway over. That sounds illegal and wrong and bad. And I can't believe so much time has gone by. But it's a good point to check in and see how the first 6 months of the year went. So I think we're going to do the first 5 questions kind of rapid fire.
Yeah.
And feel free in the chat, everyone, to provide your answers. I probably won't be able to click on everybody's this time because we're going through the questions so quickly. I'll try and click on like maybe one per person or something like that. I'm not really sure how to best get through everything because
You get, or we can rapid fire click through them. Like just click, 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 click,
yeah.
click.
We'll do something like that since
I'll
we
do
are
the
halfway through our
facial
stream.
expression reactions. I'll be like, now you get a reaction.
I wish I could give them all like emoji reactions. So let's get started. Question number 1. Did you set any writing goals at the beginning of the year? What were they? Are you on track?
This is already a tough one. Yes, I did set writing goals, but I think they were loose because I didn't know what project I was going to start.
Mm-hmm.
And so, am I on track? I'm doing stuff. So I feel like whatever, I might not be on track with what I had initially planned. Oh no, yeah, I did. I did have in mind to finish my last revision of Demons, and I did do that. So that is one that is ticked.
Yeah.
But I think I was going to write a different project, and then I turned on to Project Alien. So that's a different one. Yeah.
Well, Demons was a big part of your early 2025. So yeah, big
I forget
recognition on
that
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 one.
was this year. I feel like that
Yeah.
was a different time life ago.
Yeah, I know. I know. I think my only writing goal that I set this year, I only set one, and it was to complete one draft of a book,
Mm.
which I did. I finished my first draft of Hera's book. So the rest of the year is just gravy. I would really love to complete another draft of it in 2025. That might be ambitious. We'll see.
So good though.
What are you currently working on, and how much writing have you done?
So I'm currently writing Rules of Survival, which has changed from Project Alien to Rules of Survival after I made a cover. And I am now sitting at 46,749 words.
Oh my gosh, it's
And
happening.
I'm very close to my midpoint. I have to finish the scene I'm in, and then the next chapter is going to be kind of a double bump midpoint, I feel
Mhm.
like, because there's two intense scenes that are like, shit is finally hitting the fan vibes.
Yeah.
And when that happens, that'll probably be around 50 to 55k max, I think. So what I thought was going to be a short 80k book is actually going to be a 100k book based on my progress so far. But it's sci-fi, and I'm an overwriter, so
That's so true. Yeah. And yeah, as we said, I'm in between drafts. I'm working on a revision plan right now. So I don't know how to answer the writing question, but I would love to take my like 75k first draft to like a 95k.
you can enter also by like your checklist because you have your checklist of items
Oh
that you want to
yeah.
do. So I guess
Yeah, the checklist is like 85% done.
nice.
I just have to finish my reverse outline for Act 3 and do my sewing project.
Exciting.
Yeah. I wrote one of the items that I checked off yesterday was the query letter. And I did a draft query letter yesterday, and it was so hard and so bad.
Yeah, do send that to me as well once you've revised it if you want to,
Oh,
like,
sure.
because obviously now that I've read the book, I can also probably have an input on that part if you want.
Yeah, it definitely is really rough. But it was helpful to do because it made me realize or question a few other things about the beginning,
It
which
helps.
we can chat about because,
I think when you're writing
yeah.
like a career letter is when you're realizing your plot holes or like the things that you don't
Hmm.
have enough of, or yeah, I feel like often that highlights those issues in a draft.
Yeah. I've questioned a lot, like where to start the story because I'm like, oh, this book is so hard to explain. There's so much to set up. There's like so,
You've done a good job with the very beginning, I find. I
oh,
wouldn't
that's good.
really change that. I think it's more I left some comments about areas where I was like, "Ooh, I felt like we went quite quickly between this moment and that moment, and maybe there could be some more in
Hmm.
between." That kind of
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's stuff that's easy to fix, you know? Everything is easy to fix. You have a book. You can start from something.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so true. But doing the query letter made me wonder, like, because I'm having to, like, in the query letter, explain,
Yeah.
uh, the backstory. And I'm like, ooh, maybe I need to back a few things up. But it was helpful. Have you reached any milestones so far this year? It can be word count, stages in a project, or other events in the life of a writer.
I'd say finishing draft 4 that I consider to be the final draft of The Art of Summoning Demons was my biggest milestone I've achieved.
Yes.
But more than finishing a new draft, I think for me that milestone was more the mindset of me as a writer changed when I did that, and I finally accepted that it wasn't finished and that it needed more work. And that was hard to overcome, to be like, no, I've now changed as a writer and I need to rewrite so many bits of this book because it doesn't
Yeah.
reflect me anymore because I started it so fucking long ago.
Yeah.
So I considered that more of a milestone. I feel like that to me was the reflection of like, wow, I've evolved as a writer, like a Pokemon, but less fun.
I'm trying to think of a Pokemon. What would your Pokemon be if you were a Pokemon?
I don't know what it would be, but my favorite was always Magikarp
Really?
because it's like this useless fucking thing that then becomes what do you guys call it in English? Because in French it's Leviathor, but I think it's different in English. It's
Leviathan?
like Gyro. I think you call it something else. Leviator Pokemon in English. Let me find.
Oh,
Gyarados.
Gyarados. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you guys call it. And I was just like, this is the craziest Pokemon evolution ever.
That's so true. Started from Magikarp, now we're Gyarados.
It's like, you think this thing will never achieve anything? You were wrong. against
Don't
all odds.
underestimate. I love that. Yeah, I think for me, finishing a draft is definitely always a fun milestone.
Yeah.
Um, I haven't hit this milestone yet, but in August I will hit 5 years on AuthorTube.
Yeah.
Bro.
Ooh, other milestone. We met in real life. I think that's a pretty
Yeah,
big event in
that
the
was
life of
gonna
a
be
writer.
another one that I was gonna say.
Meeting a critique partner in real life event.
Such an event, such a canon event. Absolutely. Yeah, that's a big highlight.
But yeah, you finished a draft. That's a big one.
Yeah. It felt really hard.
But you did it.
We did. What does your writing routine look like right now? Has it changed since the beginning of the year or the previous year? Are you happy with it? And if not, how would you want it to look like?
That's a difficult one as well. At the moment, it's a little bit up and down. I think I'm mostly trying to write more intensely during weekends and perhaps trying to fit in half an hour here and there during the week. So,
Mhm.
like, if I can do that every day, that's great, but it's not always the case.
Yeah.
The biggest change, I think, is that I am a lot kinder to myself and
Yes.
I let myself rest a lot more, and I don't feel the same guilt that I think I used to when I decide not to write, and that I'm just like, no, tonight my brain is fried. I'm just gonna scroll down TikTok, watch a TV show, do something else. And I think since I've been kinder about this to myself and allowing myself to do that, I go back into the writing mode so much quicker as well,
Oh,
because there's that was a purposeful break. Now I can get back to it the day after, because it feels a lot more like it takes energy out of you to feel guilty about these
yes.
things.
So
And,
true.
and so often you have a second day where you feel like you need to do that again. And
Hmm.
it's like a vicious cycle, right? And so
Yeah.
I think I'm doing that better now. And I'm a lot more like, no, you take the break. That's good. That's actually good for you. And you're watching things. That's how you fill your creative well anyway.
Yeah.
And then the day after, I'm like, yeah, now I'm motivated to write.
Oh, I love that. That's so great. And I totally agree. Yeah, the releasing yourself from guilt is
Yeah,
so important.
big one for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. I think my routine has changed a little bit for the better. I started 2025 in a big old writing slump. I was stuck in like Act 2B of Hare's book and it was going so slowly. And I just was really like struggling with motivation.
Mm.
Um, but I was able to kind of turn that around once we got closer to the end of the book. I got really excited. And I've been doing morning streams the past month or so on the weekdays, and that has been really, really helpful. Not just for like me getting stuff done during the streams, but also like I've just gotten in the habit of waking up that little bit earlier.
They're also wildly popular. There's so many people in the chats when you're doing these. They're talking like, girl, you gotta get to work in like 2 minutes.
I know. Yeah, it's been really awesome to see new friends who maybe can't make it to the Wednesday night ones. It's really nice keeping you company on your lunch break.
Yes.
And yeah, it's kind of made me into a little bit more of a morning writer, which I've always wanted and find really helpful. So,
Yeah.
hoping to keep that up for sure. All right, here's our last rapid fire question. Have you encountered any good resources about writing?
Oh, that's a good one. It's a good question. I think we'll have one that will be the same answer, which is the character arc book by K.M. Wayland.
Hmm.
It's called something like character arc. I don't remember.
Creating character arcs.
Thank you. There you go. It was short but good and helped me through my revisions for the last draft of Demons, because when I created Demons, it was so much at the very beginning of my writing journey that I think I didn't know how to create good characters yet. And I think reading that book during that time was like perfect.
Yeah.
I would also say that the story grid is really, really good and like a wealth of information, but it's very academic and it feels like it's a fucking massive brick. So it's not for the faint of heart. It's more like if you're ready to get into revisions, then this is a really good book for it. And finally watching Brandon Sanderson's videos, because I never did watch his first lecture, like that he put on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
So I've only started watching this year's one. Or did he start in 2024? Whatever he started.
Yeah.
Um, that's been really useful. I haven't watched all of them yet because at some point he got to the magic systems, and I was like, I am currently in sci-fi, and I am gonna write magic later, so I'm gonna wait until maybe later to watch those videos. But yeah,
Very good.
I think that's it for resources.
Yeah. Yeah, those are good shout outs and ones that I was thinking of as well, for sure. Definitely the Cam Weiland book has been really, really cool. I think the only other thing that I can think of, and this isn't really a resource, but Track Bear is something that I started using this year for the first time.
True.
Because we all started doing leaderboards in the Discord together, and I got really into Track Bear and found that really motivating. Like, a little bit of external competition can do wonders for my undiagnosed ADHD. And just being able to fill in a box in my bullet journal as well,
Yeah.
being able to say, like, I've done this many hours, and just getting in the habit of doing time tracking instead of like word
Time
counts.
tracking is a big one as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And TrackBear has really pushed me towards that. And I think that's been really helpful because
Yeah.
I always win at the end of every writing session instead of like, oh, I didn't hit it this time, or I only got this far. Like,
Yeah.
if you're tracking by time, then
Whatever
you
you did,
always
is the
get a win.
thing.
Yeah.
And it's so much better for someone like me who's an overwriter as well. Because when I was doing word counts, I was writing words for the sake of it and being like, let's just fill this in and have more blabber around this section that is completely unnecessary and that I'm going to have to cut down when it's revision time.
Yeah.
While when you're tracking time, instead, you don't care about word counts. So you're actually a lot more careful with the words you use at the beginning. So
Yeah. All right. I have like 50 new comments, so I have no idea how to approach these.
rapid fire, click.
Scarling Archer. My writing goal is to finish this project. So far, I've finished a part every quarter, so I'm on track, even if it doesn't feel like it sometimes. Marta's goal is to draft 2 of project. Oh my God, draft 2 of book 2 of Project Site. I'm hoping to finish Act 1 this weekend. Krenko, I'm working on draft 2 sorta of my book. I've mostly just described as Murder Girlies or
Love it.
Hannibal meets X-Files, neither of which really fit, but they kind of do. I just finished chapter 14 yesterday.
Amazing.
Very fun. I have been practicing fast drafting, which has resulted in me getting better at just getting stuff done in order to get to the editing age.
That's pretty good.
My goal is to finish my book, and I did, so good job, me.
Yes.
Excellent. I've written more words this year than I did last year. I'm still horrible at sticking to projects, but I'm getting better at it. Hi, JC. Sadly using the stream for homework today. Thank you for the body doubling. I need it. We will get into a sprint very shortly, I promise. Crystal started the second to last round of edits and got a book cover done.
Nice.
Very fun. Is there anyone else who I have not shouted out? Hi, Elaine. I've been enjoying Track Bear too. Also, hi. The website behind the name and their name generators.
Ooh, that's good. That's a good
Ooh.
resource.
Good to know about the story grid. Okay, hopefully I gave everybody at least one shout out in the chat.
You did.
If I skipped you, I apologize so profusely, but we simply must get into another sprint.
Must.
We simply must, because we
We have
need
a
to get to
target.
Marta's sprint. So I may shorten this one up just a little bit to 25.
That's a good idea.
Okay. And we will go back to our beloved Miss Cocktail Timer.
Proceed.
Just for you, Stieg. All right, so here's 25 minutes on the clock. Good luck, everybody. All right, friends. Good work. That was the end of our second sprint.
Yay!
How did we do?
That was okay. I fucked around a bit, so I only used like maybe 20 minutes max of it. But I got 200-ish, 250 words, something like that. I'm at
Nice.
1,063 for the day, so very close to finishing this chapter. It's so frustrating that every single time I say this and I'm never done.
It's one of those like really stretchy scenes where it just keeps going and going and
I
going, and you're
kind
like,
of
come on.
there's a lot of people there because the whole fucking crew is there in that room, and I need them to vote in on whether they're going into the next habitat, which is Themis doesn't want them to go in. And I actually have a couple of characters that surprised me because I was like, they would vote yes, and I was like, actually no.
Oh.
So now it's a little bit more tight. So there's a bit of tension, there's a bit of arguments breaking out. And I basically, because I need to make sure I don't forget people that are in the room, I think that's why it's stretching out.
I love that though, when a character just kind of starts speaking up for themselves and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Because I've managed, I think, to give my secondary characters a little bit more personality than I thought when I was outlining them. But I've surprised myself with how I initially thought that my main character Themis would be very friends, like very much friends with one specific character. And then that didn't happen, and she actually was very much more friendly with a different character. And I was like,
Ah.
this makes a lot more sense, and it just sort of naturally happened. So like even when you outline, you don't fucking know until you write it.
It's so true. Until you get two characters in a room together, you
Yeah.
really can't guarantee what's going to happen.
Yeah. They have a life of their own.
Yeah. Well, good. That's awesome. I'm glad you're getting close to the end of the chapter. I started working on my Act 3 outline, and then as I was kind of working on that, I realized that I wanted to do a character page for one of my side characters who does not exist in the current draft, but that I want to add. And so I have a character page for my other main characters, and I was like, let me stop and set one up for her.
Is
Because
this
I,
the point where
yeah.
you realized your books was not passing the Bechdel test, and you were like, I need to have one girlfriend that they talk about all the things and men?
It's so awful. Like there's not even that, but just there's no other characters in the book except for the main characters. Like
There
it
are,
is so isolating.
but they don't like they're not constantly there. Like for instance, the character of Aris, I was like, I think you should introduce him earlier.
Oh yeah. Oh
He
yeah.
just
He
pops
needs
in
to
and is
be like from day one
yeah.
there.
I was like, who the fuck is this guy? But I like
Yeah,
it.
that was me going like, okay, and here's where the political plot really starts happening, which needs to like actually happen throughout the whole book. But yeah, he's one. There's another one that I found when I was writing the final battle, and then as I was reading that book, the Cam Weiland book, she describes the impact character,
Mm,
or the character who has is not going through change. Like they already are whole, they believe their truth, they live their truth, and them being that way rubs up against the main character because
yeah.
they're like showing them how things could be, and that's kind of like friction between them.
I kind of want to reread that book because of you. I'm like, that would be useful. Once I finish this draft, maybe I'll reread it.
Yes, yeah, in between drafts was definitely, I think, the perfect place to read it, because you already then have your ideas, and I have like my soup
Yeah,
soup of stuff to play with, and then now like reading the book, I can organize it better.
yeah.
um is how I'm kind of feeling about it. So yeah, that was my sprint. um and Donna joined us. Good morning, Donna Marie. Marta got through a little more video editing. Nina got 294 words. Very good job.
Oh,
Should
cuddles.
probably change out of my pajamas at some point. I mean, if you want to stream in your pajamas, that's totally fine.
Yeah, to be fair.
Wow, 1405 for Scrawling Archer today. Nice job. And nice job, Crystal. 953. I'm about halfway through this chapter. It's a lot of small edits. Good job. Elaine edited half a scene. Me too. The character chooses their destiny.
Yeah.
I'm very guilty of having a mostly male cast, so I feel you, Anna. Yeah. It's more like it's just my main character, and there are two potential love interests in the story. So um, just by default, it's weighting more heavily male, which isn't my favorite.
Yeah. I was gonna say the main side character is a brother, not a sister. So
Yeah, I thought about changing that as well.
I
We'll
mean, his
see.
name is so close to my real name. I was like, that's got to be a girl. What are you doing?
Oh my God, I didn't even realize that because that's actually like a Greek name. And I was at that time trying to find Greek names, which I think I'm going to uh, get rid of.
Hmm. Yeah,
But
you
that's
said
so
that.
funny that I just like leaned towards that one.
I was like, hi, twinsies.
That's so funny. Yes, the flat character. Yes, this is another good word for it. Yeah, they're not going through change. They already are whole in their identity. And that really irks or gets under the skin of the main character. Or at least it will for me, I think. All right, we will very quickly be going through the last half of the mid-year freakout tag. So here are our next 5 rapid fire questions. Everybody get your fingers ready to type your answers. This is a fun one. If you write with a playlist, what are your current go-to songs to get into writing mode?
Ooh, for me, it depends on the project, and I don't really tend to write with a playlist except for my liked songs playlist. So it'll just be
Mm-hmm.
songs I've listened to recently anyway. But when I'm listening to new songs, I always try to be like, oh, this one would be good for this project. This one would be good for
Yeah.
that project. So I try to put them into my different playlists. And I'm just going back to my book playlist on Spotify.
Yeah, I was doing the same thing. That's been really fun this year is starting to like listen to music through the lens of like, oh, what book does this kind of remind me of?
But the thing is, a lot of people, I think, thinks of most people think of lyrics and they'll go off lyrics. And I don't because English is not my first language. So I'm able to tune off a lot of the time the lyrics.
Cool.
And I think more of the vibes. And I'm like, oh, this is like a fun actiony song that'd be great for demons. Or like, oh, this is a very like epic type of music. That is Project Snowstorm. Like there's just,
Oh,
it's more like the vibes.
you're
So for
almost thinking like soundtrack.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's what it is I'm more of a visual person. So when I'm writing, if I'm listening to music, that's more the soundtrack of that scene. If this were a movie or something.
Yeah, very good.
So I think the one that represented the most for me, Project Alien. I'm just going back. Did I not save it? No, there it is Up From the Bottom by Linkin Park, which is one of their newer songs.
Linkin Park.
I know if anyone is like, what the fuck? Linkin Park doesn't exist anymore because the main guy, they have a girl now who sings Emily, and I fucking love her, and no one says anything bad about her because she's fucking fantastic, and a lot of fans are loving the vibes because they're very much old school Linkin Park still. So,
Oh, cool.
Up From the Bottom for me is the soundtrack of my book for now.
I'm gonna have to go look it up.
Sorry, that was a long answer for a rapid fire.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, I've had a lot of fun making a playlist for Hera's book, more than I have any of my other books. I've really committed to the playlist bit this time around.
I love that.
I'm looking at it now, and it's a little bit long. I think if I had to pick a couple of songs that really like, and I'm more lyrically focused,
Yeah.
The Prophecy by Taylor Swift would be one. That one really just like nails Hera's feelings at the beginning of the book, I think. I have a ton of Bastille on here because I think Bastille has always been in my head as like I'm gonna write a book that feels like this someday.
Yeah. I could
And
see
yeah,
that. Oh,
I
I
think
love
this
that.
is my Bastille book.
Maybe I just need to put a Bastille album on when I'm reading the rest of it.
Yeah, I have a lot of songs from obviously Bad Blood because it's Greek inspired and it has that mythological vibe. But I have a lot from their futuristic album too.
Ooh, okay.
So that's been fun. I have a ton of Ariana Grande as well. Um, Supernatural. Um, and another one would probably be Idol Worship by Paramore.
Okay.
So that's been fun.
That makes
Um, Toughest moment related to your writing so far this year?
That's a tough question in itself.
Yeah.
Toughest moment related to my writing so far. It's hard to think back about what I would have been when I was doing the last draft of Demons, because I feel like again that was a lifetime ago. So
Yeah.
for Project Alien, I think it's probably when I was trying to figure out what my break into two was, and in general, more generalized, it's the fact that I have an outline and it's my first time working so closely to a detailed outline. And I think having doubts while you have an outline is hard sometimes because you're like, am I even allowed to change this? Because I've already set this up. And if I change it here, then I need to rethink the whole outline and I need to stop writing so I can focus on the outline again. And I
Yeah.
think that's the hard part, is trying to figure out my way of writing with an outline as a reformed penser.
We're still figuring it out.
Yes. It's basically
It's
figuring out my new method. I think that's the hardest moment.
yeah. Yeah. I still feel like I don't have a method that's tried and true that will stay the same. I'm still trying new things every time
Yeah, I
I
mean, I
get
think
through a
every
new
project
phase.
can be different, right?
Yeah. I think my toughest moment was probably trying to get out of my slump this spring. I was really, really struggling to write like 5,000 words in a month. I was, felt like I was sitting down and writing, but not a lot of words were happening. And
Yeah.
the middle to end of Hare's book was really, really hard for me to write. Um, Probably because I didn't outline enough or know enough about Hare's internal arc and changes. Um, and so, yeah, once again, I'm still learning about how to make things easier for myself in the future. But that
Yeah.
was really rough. I just felt like I was totally slogging. And yeah, it was not fun showing up to YouTube and being like, hi guys, I wrote like 5,000 words this month and it was really hard.
Yeah. But you got
um,
out of that. So if
we
anything,
did.
that's even more of an achievement.
Yeah, we got through it. And that's why I think my best memory would be writing the end together on stream with Stieg. That was very fun.
That was such a fun and cool moment to witness. It was
Yeah,
just, ah, I'm so happy that you got that.
warm fuzzies.
It's so satisfying to do it with someone else at the same time and like life.
Yeah. Yeah, it really made it feel special because a lot of writing like is just you alone in your office. And so when you like do something
Yeah.
exciting or cross a milestone, you're just like alone with your laptop going, "Yay."
Yeah.
I guess that happened and so it made it feel more momentous, which was fun.
I agree because I think a lot of the times as well, when you finish a draft, unless it's your last one, you're like, cool, now on to the next.
Mhm.
It's just like
Yep.
you're never finished.
Yeah, it was nice to have that forced pause to celebrate.
Celebration. Yeah.
Yeah. What was your best memory?
Um, I don't, it's not best memory, I guess, but sort of like maybe finishing the last draft of Demons, giving it back to you and knowing that you love the changes. Like that was a big one.
Yeah.
And sort of goes hand in hand with that starting to draft again because I was itching so much to draft something new and just
Yeah.
being able to plunge back into drafting. I think it's sort of like a combination of, that moment when I finished one revision draft and was able to start a new
Mhm.
writing draft.
Yeah, getting to feel that forward momentum.
Yeah, it got me so excited for it because like it felt like the reward after the hard work.
Oh, yay. Something important that you've learned or advice for your future self can be very practical about the craft or more broadly about your own practice.
Oh, it's also a
Hmm.
hard one. Something important. I feel like I've said a few things already in some of the other answers. Like for instance, knowing to pose when your brain isn't into it, I think is probably the most important thing I've learned about myself in terms of writing. Like
Yeah.
just practicing like mindfulness to myself and just kindness to myself and being like, you're already working a full-time job. It's okay if
Yep.
you don't work on your secondary imaginary job.
Yeah.
Night.
Yeah.
And I also think like just learning to appreciate the moments where I felt like I've progressed as a writer. Like that's
Yes.
another one, is just learning to recognize those moments. And I think it's hard to do when you're just in it, but when you go back to an earlier draft of something and you reread yourself, your past self, you're like, holy shit, I can do better than that now.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so, so special. Um, yeah, I would say celebrating wins is a big one. I started
Yeah.
actually around the time of when I was in that slump and I was really like just mentally having a tough time. I decided to start doing like a wins page in my bullet journal at the end of the month to
Love
be like,
that.
here's what went right, here's what I did, and let's be glad for it. And I think that has honestly helped.
That's very much
Um,
like what people do with their day-to-day lives when they're doing journaling, where they're like, write one good thing that happened to you today, but the writer
yeah.
version.
Yeah, yeah. And it's not, yeah, not just writing like anything in personal life that went well, but the writing is always the first thing that I think of course.
Yeah.
And it's, and that was just the mindset shift of me saying, I wrote 5,000 words this month. Win. Yeah. Um, I think another piece of advice that I'm like learning again and again, but I feel like I really learned again this time, the past 6 months, is get clear on your character's internal arc
Yeah.
and get clear on their want versus need and the lie that they're going to uncover throughout the course of the book. I wish I had been really clear on that when I started this. I had an idea of it, um, but it would have been so much stronger if I had also pinpointed that for my love interest. And
Yeah.
I'm really excited to like layer that into the drafts now that I know his backstory and where his ghost comes from. It's it's really good and juicy, and I'm really excited about
Oh, that is exciting.
it. What would you like to accomplish with your writing during the second half of the year?
God, don't remind me already one half has passed.
I know.
Um, in a very pragmatic way, I just want to finish the draft that I'm currently writing of Rules of Survival.
Yeah.
Um, and I think I think it's this vicious cycle, like it just repeats itself of if I'm writing, I'm itching to revise. If I'm revising, I'm itching to write.
So true.
So I'm also already thinking like, oh, which project do I want to focus on next? Because I have a few that I need to revise, and I have one I need to finish as well. Um, and the more I think about my writing in general, this is becoming more philosophical. I'll promise I'll try and stop within time. I think I really enjoy sci-fi so much that I might have to go back to Space Princess before I go back to previous drafts of other books,
Ooh,
because that's probably the next one I would like to get to a one day ready to query state. And
fun.
so maybe just in terms of timeline, that might be the one that I try to get back to this year. Question
I'm
mark.
so excited to hear that because I love Space Princess so much.
So it would be good, but I don't know. To be fair, I haven't planned otherwise.
That's fair. You're focusing on the alien right now, and that's
Yeah,
totally fair.
yeah.
I think I have a tentative hope, dream, and wish in my heart to revise Hera this summer and do beta reads this fall. I
It
don't
could
know how realistic that is. It really depends on if I get really, really excited and something possesses me and I can revise the book in 2 months, which has happened before.
true,
I
true.
did that with Gemstone, and I know it's within me, but I can't
But you
guarantee
you
it.
have to also remind yourself that life could get in the way, and that is okay. So have like a contingency plan.
Yeah, yeah, and that's why I'm gonna say summer-ish, fall-ish.
Yeah,
But that's That's what I'm hoping for. I really want to try and get Hare's book to a finished state in 2026, and you practice like getting projects all the way to the end.
Yeah.
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 So that is me. We have approximately 1 trillion comments to go through. Once again, I'm gonna try and just pick one from each person to just do a little shout out, because we do all need to go over to Marta's stream, which is starting in 4 minutes. Crystal, I'm still listening to the Immortal Masquerade playlist. I just pushed play.
Nice.
A Lady of the Lyre by Vinnie March. At the moment, could change any day.
Interesting.
Let me get down to the other answers. Realizing this project, I need to make slow and steady progress on it because it requires so much more thought with all the moving parts. Marta is taking a long break from it after family crisis and then finding it hard to get back into the story and remember my plans.
Yeah, that is a
Yeah,
tough one. Yeah.
I can totally understand that being tough. Let me find some more. Elaine just answered the playlist question, Mistakes by Lake Street Drive, which is very good. And thank you all so much for your answers. I will keep you in mind, Marta. I don't know if it's up your alley. I don't know if you read really spicy Kindle Unlimited books, but if you do, let me know. All right, friends, I think we're going to wrap up there.
Marcia says I delayed my stream by 5 minutes. That's
Oh!
insane. So sorry, Marta.
I'm so sorry, Marta. I hope we're not impeding too much. But yeah, thank you guys so much for participating in the questions and the tags. I mean, I don't, but I want to know about the two-headed serpent. I will be happy to spoil and tell you anything you want to know. So what's on the horizon for you, Malin? Anything you want to plug before we say goodbye?
I actually don't have anything to plug, to be fully honest.
That's so
This
fair.
is it.
That's so
Not
fair.
me.
I really don't either. I have been vlogging this revision process, so I'm hoping I'll post a vlog sometime early July. And I will probably keep up the morning streams. We'll see.
I like those because that makes me write during the day sometimes, and then the evening I'm like, I've already written for 30 minutes, so I can just do something else.
I love that. I love that so much. And we will be doing another Lazy King stream at some time in July that we have not determined. So stay tuned for that. Alrighty. Thank you so much, friends. We'll see you somewhere else on the writing internet. Bye.